NASA has found much evidence that indicates that the planet used to be much warmer and much wetter billions of years ago. It was named Mars by the Romans after their god because of the reddish color of the planet resembling blood. Other civilizations also named it similarly based off of its red color. For example, the Egyptians called it Hirdesher, meaning the red one. Even today, many still call it the red planet, which is due to the iron oxide in the dirt. Scientists don't expect to find anything alive on Mars, but they are looking for evidence that life once was there. Which makes me think about the one interview with Elon about terraforming the planet and his solution to just detonate thermonuclear warheads on the poles to speed it up. A bit of a crazy idea, but Mars has a radius of 2,100 miles, which is about half the size of Earth. Mars is about 1.5 astronomical units from the Sun, which is apparently it's abbreviated as AU, and it is a unit of measurement which is equivalent to the distance of Earth to the Sun. It takes about 13 minutes for sunlight to reach Mars as opposed to I believe, 8 to get to Earth. Mars completes a rotation like just a day-night cycle like Earth, but it takes it 24.9 hours as opposed to Earth's 23.9 or 24.6 hours, my mistake. Martian days are referred to as sols for short, or solar day. A year on Mars lasts 669.6 sols, which is equivalent to 687 Earth days, so it takes just under 2 years for one Earth year, or rotation around the Sun. Mars's axis of rotation is about 25 degrees, which is similar to Earth's 23.4 degrees of rotation on its axis. Mars, like Earth, also has distinct seasons, which last a good bit longer due to the fact that it takes it about 2 Earth years to complete its rotation around the Sun. So Mars's seasons vary in length due to its elliptical orbit around the Sun. Spring in the northern hemisphere, when autumn is in the southern, is in its longest season at 194 sols. Autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern is the shortest at 142 days. Northern winter / southern summer is 154 sols, and northern summer and southern winter is 178 sols. Mars has 2 moons that orbit the planet, Phobos and Deimos. They are a sort of potato-shaped asteroids because they don't have enough mass and gravity to make them spherical. The moons get their names from the horses that pulled the chariot from Greek god of war Ares. Phobos, the larger of the moons, its surface is riddled with craters, and it is predicted to crash into Mars within the next 50 billion years. Due to the gravity, I imagine, pulling it in ever so closer, little by little. Deimos is about half the size of Phobos, orbits 2.5 times farther away from Mars. Deimos is covered in loose dirt that fills its craters, making it appear smoother. Mars doesn't have any rings around the planet. However, in 50 million years, when Phobos crashes into Mars, this could result in a dusty ring orbiting the planet. When the solar system formed into its current layout about 4.5 billion years ago, Mars was created around then, when gravity pulled swirling gas and dust in together to create the fourth planet in our solar system. Or the fourth planet from the Sun. Mars has a dense core at its center, around 930 to 1300 miles in radius. It's made of iron, nickel, and sulfur. Surrounding the core is a rocky mantle between 770 and 1170 miles thick. Above that, a crust made of iron, magnesium, aluminum, calcium, and potassium. The crust is between 6 and 30 miles deep. The surface of the planet is actually multiple colors, ranging from brown, gold, and tan. The reason Mars looks reddish is due to the oxidization of the rusting iron in the rocks, the regolith, or Martian soil, and dust of Mars. This dust gets kicked up into the atmosphere, and from a distance it makes the planet appear mostly red. While Mars is about half the diameter of Earth, interestingly, its surface area is a similar amount to the total land mass on Earth. Its volcanoes, impact craters, and crustal movements have created some of the most interesting topographical features in our solar system. There's a very large canyon on the surface called Valles Marineris. Hope I got that right. It's long enough to stretch from California to New York, more than 3,000 miles. This Martian canyon is 200 miles at its widest and 4.3 miles at its deepest. That is about 10 times the size of Earth's Grand Canyon. Mars is also the home to the largest volcano in our solar system, Olympus Mons. It's 3 times taller than Everest, which rises about 29,029 feet, or 8,848 meters above Earth's surface, with the base the size of the state of New Mexico. It's pretty big. Mars appears to have had a lot of water in its past, with ancient river valley networks, deltas, and lake beds, as well as rocks and minerals on the surface that would only have been possible with water's presence, like the formation of them. Some of the features suggest that Mars experienced massive floods about 3.5 billion years ago. Mars technically still has water today, but it's just ice on its poles because its atmosphere is far too thin for water to exist in a liquid form. Mars has a very thin atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and argon gases. To our eyes, the sky would be hazy and red because of the suspended dust, instead of the familiar blue tint we see in Earth's sky. The atmosphere on Mars doesn't offer much protection from asteroids, and I would imagine UV rays and all that goodness that Earth's atmosphere does to keep us alive. The surface temperature on Mars can get as high as 70 degrees Fahrenheit or as low as negative 225 degrees Fahrenheit or 153 degrees Celsius. And because the atmosphere is so thin, the heat from the sun easily escapes the planet, which explains the temperature variations. If you were to stand on Mars's equator at noon, it would feel like spring. at about 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 24 degrees Celsius, and at winter it would feel at about 32 degrees or 0 degrees Celsius. Occasionally, winds on Mars are strong enough to create dust storms that cover the majority of the planet. After these storms, it can be many months before the dust fully settles. Mars has no magnetic field today, but areas in the crust of the southern hemisphere are highly magnetized, which indicates they're traces from a magnetic field from 4 billion years ago. I do wonder what our next plans are going to end up being with Mars. I know in the future there were talks about a mission to, I don't know if it was colonize or to put people there, but that has its own challenges, so that'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. I don't know. Do you think we'll end up living on Mars one day, or having a colony there? I think it'd be interesting, but I also don't think that'll be quite in our lifetime, but hey, we'll see. Anyways, thank you for making it to the end of the video. Here is your celebratory head pat. Hello. Today, I thought it would be fun to